Late September settles over the Amboseli ecosystem in southern Kenya. Months of dry weather have faded the grass to yellow. Temporary pools that formed during the rains have already disappeared. Only the permanent marshes still hold water across the basin. A family of elephants moves slowly from the open woodland. An older female walks several steps ahead of the others. Her large ears move gently through the cool morning air. 3 adult females follow with juveniles between their larger bodies. One small calf stays close beside its mother's front legs. The calf's shorter steps make the family's progress noticeably slower. The matriarch pauses and raises her trunk above the grass. Air carries scents from dust, animals, vegetation, and distant water. She turns slightly east and begins walking across the open plain. The nearest adult follows without waiting for another visible signal. Within seconds, the remaining family members enter the same path. Their feet press broad, round tracks into the pale, dry soil. Dust rises lightly behind each step and settles again. The calf walks between 2 females where the shade lasts longer. Above them, the morning sky remains pale and almost cloudless. Ahead lies the exposed floor of seasonal Lake Amboseli. During wetter months, parts of this flat basin can hold water. Now its surface is hard, dusty, and almost without vegetation. The matriarch steps onto the lake bed without changing her pace. The family follows, spreading slightly across the firmer ground. The calf moves more easily where loose grass no longer catches its feet. Heat begins rising from the pale surface as morning advances. The adults increase their pace while the temperature remains moderate. The oldest female keeps a direct line toward the eastern marshes. She has crossed this basin through many wet and dry seasons. Experience allows older females to recognize changing routes and resources. A juvenile stops beside an old depression in the hardened mud. Its trunk explores the empty hollow, but finds no moisture.
A nearby adult nudges the juvenile forward with her trunk. The group closes around the calf before continuing across open ground.
Few trees grow here, leaving almost no shade during midday. The matriarch's ears spread wider as the air becomes warmer. She has crossed this basin through many wet and dry seasons. Experience allows older females to recognize changing routes and resources. Far ahead, a thin green line appears beyond the dust. The matriarch continues toward it without leaving the established route. Its mother slows and touches the calf along one shoulder. Another female moves behind them and blocks the rising dust. The matriarch stops when the family falls several lengths behind. She waits until the calf reaches the front adults again. The family then resumes at a slower and more even pace. Zebras and wildebeest also move toward water across the basin. Their trails merge into broad paths leading toward the marshes. The elephants cross one path and continue on their chosen direction. A dry wind carries dust against the matriarch's face and ears. She lowers her head briefly, but keeps moving into the wind. The adults remain close enough for their bodies to almost touch. The calf is now surrounded by legs, trunks, and moving shadows. Green vegetation becomes clearer as the family nears Longuigné Swamp. Reeds rise above the flat basin, where groundwater reaches the surface.
The smell of wet vegetation prompts several elephants to raise trunks. The calf lifts its head and increases its pace slightly.
The matriarch leaves the bare lake bed and enters damp soil. Dark footprints appear where moisture remains beneath the surface.
The first adult reaches shallow water along the marsh edge. She tests the mud with one foot before placing her weight.
Her trunk lowers into clear water between short green reeds. She fills the trunk, raises it, and drinks the first mouthful. The remaining adults enter slowly, keeping the calf near the center. The calf reaches the water but hesitates at the muddy edge. Its mother steps ahead and creates firmer space beside her feet. The calf follows and lowers its short trunk toward the surface. At this age, drinking through the trunk still requires practice. It takes water directly with its mouth near the shallow edge. Adult females drink, while others pull fresh plants from the marsh. The matriarch gathers wet vegetation and places it into her mouth.
Mud darkens her feet while water cools the lower legs. The calf presses against its mother after finishing several mouthfuls.
Nearby families arrive from other parts of the dry ecosystem. The marsh becomes crowded, but the matriarch keeps her family together. She moves toward quieter reeds before the calf lies in shallow mud. Afternoon clouds begin gathering beyond the plains and distant hills. The short rains may return soon, but they have not arrived today. For now, the family remains beside the water the matriarch reached.